I am very excited to see this bot lane duo face off now, because they haven't lost any of those best of fives, and crucially, that's going to be a confidence boost for Fnatic. They're also the only team to have beaten SK in the regular split. So for Fnatic, it's going to be about doubling down on that now coming into playoffs.
Absolutely. That win yesterday, I think, was crucial for their confidence. I think a little bit of a shaky game for Sejuani, but still really, really important.
That game 3 as well. That was really where I was like, okay, Fnatic feel back. Humanoid, fantastic game. Razork looking great on the brand. And I think coming into this, it's going to be about SK trying to contain that mid-jungle and then leaning on the likes of Rahel and Luon to really step up.
So I now join you, gents. You know what I was saying while the popcorn was in my mouth? Well, sorry, I'm just feeling the salt go through. I sat there waiting, eating like a quarter of the bucket. It's just down the gullet. I was sitting there and I'm like, you know, is this one of the best bot lanes we've seen in a very, very long time from SK? If they do well, I think progress and performance in playoffs is the main thing, right? If they crumble now, if they can't close it and get towards season finals, it's a big thing. I think that's what we need to look at and see, how do they start stating their name in the sand? And
I think that's the question for a lot of people. We've seen SK do well every winter for the last 2 years, right? But it's when they got to playoffs they have crumbled. Now, they did look good against Heretics. It's about now looking good against Fnatic.
Different beast.
Exactly. I think the thing is with SK is not only do they have a fantastic bot lane like we're highlighting, their solo laners are incredible as well. Relevant's been playing really well. His Gnar, I feel like this meta has come together for Relevant really well. Gnar, Cassante, Renekton, I feel like his only weak champion right now is maybe Jax, and even that's fine. Showing us the Camille as well. So I think Gnar in this draft is something that Fnatic should maybe take a look at.
But while we go to first pick now, I think we need to consider what we've seen throughout playoffs and the similar region in LCK, as we were all talking about the draft. Sejuani has been first pickable now for quite a couple of days, and a lot of teams are following that trend.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably see a similar trend, although with Tristana potentially sneaking her way through, I think this is such a big pick for Nisqy. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and lean on that for that first rotation, and then have Humanoid going back towards something like Taliyah, where he looked way more comfortable yesterday.
Yeah, maybe take away Tristana, the enemy team gets Sejuani, and then you could take Maokai in response, because Maokai's still open. You could also do AP jungler, like Nidalee, we saw that yesterday from Isma,
Brand.
But Sedge over Tristana. Happy with the Corki handshake into the Trist.
I think this is a bit of a call-out, though, because we've kind of been saying, look, Humanoid hasn't looked great on the AD, so it's like, are you going to take the Tristana? Do you feel comfortable in this matchup? Or maybe you just opt in towards the Corki, which you look fine on, and say, hey, look, you can get the Trist. But, okay, they are going to take it away, because I think Tristana has been Nisqy's best performing champ this
Now, maybe Tristana, Brand, Zyra. We'll see if Razork wants to pull out the Brand again. I think Brand is just the best champion, maybe on R3 here, in general, in the jungle.
I mean, Kai'Sa's another one. We don't mention it much, but like when we have 80 carry through mid, through bot at the moment, Kai'Sa has been showing her head more than things like the Ezreal, right? More than things like the Zeri, even in this region, that gets banned on second rotation. So, double AD carry for Fnatic. We're talking about that handshake. You know what would be really fun, guys? Corki versus Tristana in the mid lane.
Looks like we won't be getting it, though. So Nisqy going to go over towards the Taliyah and just open up for, hey, I want to try and set up for a lot more of these team fights. You've already got that point-and-click CC coming through from the Renekton and the Sejuani, so very strong top side of the map with a lot of synergy where it looks like SK are going to try to exploit and then see if they can get a comfortable matchup for Rahel and Luon after this rotation to just say, look, you guys do your own thing. We're playing more for this top lane.
Absolutely. Ornn, again.
Is this Giant X?
Like, the Antonia's back.
Yeah, Oscarinin on 3. I mean, we did see early Cassantes throughout the year, in winter especially, didn't we? When he was playing weak side of the map. It looks like for Fnatic, they've got direction again.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the side of SK now, you can pinch junglers. On the other side, you can pinch AD carries. I think for AD carries, Xayah's risen up a little bit in priority. MF, something that's been coming out and decent into it. Zeri, of course, is something that Rahel really likes as well. I think Rahel's going to face a little bit of a pinch here, but there should be enough picks to make him comfortable.
I'm also curious if you just ban the Braum, because you could even go something like an Ezreal Braum. Ezreal kind of
Ash.
Yeah, I think you can just handshake the lane essentially and say, look, it doesn't really matter. We just get the Braum pick for stopping a lot of what Fnatic want to try and set up for here. So I think that could also be an option for Fnatic to just try and remove.
I like it, especially since in this double AD carry meta, Braum just seems to be the answer, especially engaged supports running into him. At the moment, it feels like maybe some follow-up engage for Fnatic as we get double AD carry ban. Again, we were talking about that before. Taken away from Rahel. The pool is pinched. Now we just want to find out, are they going to go Dagda's suggestion? Are they going to listen to the wise man, or is another AP jungle ban?
Into Kai'Sa, you kind of want to bully her in lane. I think they could do something like Alistar if they really want to as well. They have a few different options here for SK Gaming. What they have right now is a very mid-game, early to mid-game transition-focused composition with a lot of single-target burst. Razork here, Brand is pinched. That's the next AP jungle on the menu.
It does mean you don't really want to go for any sort of short-range AD carry, though. Something like Xayah could kind of struggle, but they're going to go for it. So, like, you still have the ultimate to try and dissuade yourself from the Ornn, but we've seen how good that Zyra ultimate is just zoning some of these short-range carries away. So I think Razork going to have a lot of impact when it comes to these team fights on that ult use.
So an explanation for Xayah, because it's not really talked about too much. She got a small buff to her feathers. Each individual feather pull, I think, got a more of an AD ratio or something along these lines. And with all the dive compositions coming out with preemptive Kai'Sas as well as melee supports and stuff like this, Xayah's pretty good into those compositions. So that's why we're seeing a more pick now.
I mean, it is nice again, especially when we have Rahel and Luon. We have a Korean bot lane on Zyra Rakan. Historically, at Worlds in the past, teams like Samsung Galaxy, it's my favorite lane to watch, considering how strong the 2v2 can be.
Also, as you say, like, Xayah just good into Kai'Sa in a lot of push lanes, so being able to set up for Isma, who has definitely tried to go and invade on the bottom side of the map using Rahel and Luon's pressure, but it has come back to bite them a little bit. So, I mean, you are against Zyra, you're probably not going to try and invade, but just keep aware that we're probably going to see Isma at least trying to play off that bot side to get vision, track where Razork is, and stop him from having that early game impact that he likes to have.
So, SK, early to mid game. That's where they want to shine. On the other side for Fnatic, I have some of my concerns. Alistar's kind of difficult to pull off into Xayah, in my opinion. I remember last year when Xayah and Alistar were met at the same time. Alistar's win rate into Xayah was abysmal because his engage is very committal, so he often just gets rooted up and snared.
True.
So, a little bit difficult for Jun to pilot that, I think.
Well, either way, we know we're focusing on the bot side, so it's going to be a doozy to start off. We're in our second round, but we're in a banger already. Fnatic versus SK. It's a BO3, but I hope it goes all the way. Odo, don't retire. A message, an important one. Marek, you take my breath away. No, but the sign's great. The ingenuity's great, but the pun is awful.
You never were a fan of puns, really.
I wasn't. Ain't no way she just did that. I'm actually so sorry. I'm a hypocrite, but I am excited to get into game one. SK and Fnatic. Let's hope it takes our breath away equally, because this will take us to the fourth round, and SK need the points desperately. A win here over Fnatic would leap them up and get away from teams like Team Heretics, who are trying to make a similar run.
Immediately, my eyes are on mid lane. The thing is, when you play against Taliyah, right, you really want to shut it down and stop it from being able to move to the side lane. So ganks towards mid could be nice. Razork's full clear is going to be incredibly quick, so he's going to have a window after that full clear. He'll be able to look for something in the top side if he wants to, or in the bot side.
I think especially when we already kind of highlighted Rahel should have pushed in this bottom lane. It frees up Luon to try and play around this mid lane, like work with Isma. I think you have a relatively strong early game for SK, just if you can get Luon out onto the map. But it is going to be a case of trying to play off of, Irrelevant having push, your side lanes having push, to enable plays around mid lane.
Yeah, I'm immediately kind of looking at potential triple lane of Prio here. With Alistar so weak early game, Taliyah can potentially contest the push. As well as Renekton getting prior into Ornn. Let's see what Isma can do with it on the Sejuani. I
mean, that priority is important, right? Because Oscarinin, a bit of a role player in this game. Humanoid starts with a rocket jump, and onto Nisqy. He'll find some damage, but thanks to Phase Rush, looks like Nisqy can space a little better. Stones flow out, but in the end, it might evolve. Luon's already moved up here as well. Jun a saving grace with a headbutt. But he now moves up to mid. It means both supports won't be near their bottom lane to start the game, as we, I guess it is a blast from the past. We're getting supports just laning mid for the time being.
Yeah, at least Humanoid has the fleet footwork, which should help him out, but you have the extra pause coming through for Nisqy, so he's already used one of his to try and heal back up. I don't think it's enough to kind of go, oh, as a jungler, I'm immediately going to try and make a play, but definitely going to keep an eye on those health bars just to see if you can maybe get some action around mid. But I do like Razork starting on this bottom side, just basically trying to say, hey, look, the chance of being invaded is highest through Rahel and Luon's pushing this bottom side. So let's start on the boss, shift up towards top side, and use this incredibly fast clear speed that Zyra has.
Alrighty, you have top lane pushing in for Irrelevant. He can play for the crash into a cheater if he wants to, but he's got to be mindful of that Zyra clearing to top side, because that is very gankable if Oscarinin can hold the wave. But this wave looks pretty big. Likely not going to be the case.
A lot of questions. I was saying before, and Eragon, I kind of want to quiz you a bit, because Oscarinin as a role player versus a carry, right? We've seen many different games. The Camille game comes to my mind in only recent history, where Oscarinin at MSI absolutely carried. I feel like here on the Ornn, it's a very different role if you want to kind of walk us through.
So the thing is, with Oscarinin on, I feel like we saw it yesterday, right, on the Olaf. There are these carries that you can pick. If you give draft resources to Oscar, when he's not blind picking Ornn, or having to neutralize with the Ornn pick, you could just leave him to side lane on something like an Olaf, and eventually he can come to team fights and be absolutely massive. And I think that's really where Oscarinin shines. The same sort of thing with Camille.
I think it's also because when you look at the way Fnatic tend to play things like early Void Grubs, early Rift Heralds, it's often leaving Noah on that bottom side. So they're kind of reliant on Humanoid and Oscarinin providing that supplemental damage because you're going to play into that 4v4. And I think that's where, when you have that little bit more playmaking ability on towards Oscarinin, it actually ends up shining for Fnatic in those 6-minute to 8-minute fights.
He's a role player as well. I feel like we've seen some good K'Sante games, but yeah, I like that you guys are talking about the flare, and especially using yesterday as an example with the Olaf as Isma doing a bit of invading topside. I'm going to pause because remember, one of the best pairings of Renekton, or vice versa, Sejuani, as Oscarinin gets absolutely battered, is this duo in the top side that easily gets a proc, but mid shows us as well. Flash for flash, a little bit mistimed, and Humanoid still in a bit of trouble. A Permafrost would take it, and as he finds it mid-air, first blood's given to SK as Razork's now in a bit of trouble himself. The flail comes out, he'll get a Permafrost, but he's burning down. Razork gets the trade, but Nisqy doesn't have any mana. Razork gets the roots down as well, and the burn enough. It's down to inches, the flash for flash. Nisqy is looking for one more.
Oh no!
The plants carry through, and Nisqy just didn't have what it took to get the return.
Nisqy chasing down Razork there. The 4-minute cookie doesn't spawn in his inventory time, so he stayed that entire fight. If it just came in a little bit sooner, maybe he would have been able to combo on the chase down.
That is heartbreaking for Nisqy. The plant just willing him down, the red buff burning him. He wanted so desperately to get that kill, but now 2 kills going over towards Razork, which is a great start for the Zyra. Humanoid getting aggressive in the mid as well, but you might see when we get in towards the replay, it was unfortunate for Nisqy, just didn't quite get the stun on the Unraveled Earth combo. So it meant that then Humanoid was able to flash away from Isma, which just started that whole play. So really unfortunate stuff for SK across the board on that one.
When your primary AP damage is that far ahead this early on, it's going to be huge. I mean, Zyra clears like a truck, if that is a thing. That champion doesn't slow down, almost level 6 as we recount how Isma tried to match this flash.
Yeah, and you see it here. So we get the flick back coming through from Nisqy, but the Unraveled Earth isn't there.
Whoa.
So Humanoid doesn't actually get stunned. He's able to get the distance then to get away from Isma. Will fall eventually, but as you go for the chase down here, this is the heartbreak. Nisqy runs out of mana. Isma ends up falling, trying to get that little bit of extra damage down, and then it just becomes an auto attack war where you've got the red buff helping to burn, you got just that little bit of extra distance, and then yeah, just able to keep him in check.
The slow on the red buff creating the space so Nisqy can't auto-attack on the Taliyah. Really, really brutal.
I mean, look, Swiffer didn't look particularly pleased with that, but I think that's because Razork got away with his life, and now with Faded Ashes and Stalk Shoes, I'd be displeased as well. Dominant's going to be his top lane, and it looks like Eragon playing solo queue, but let's find out how much further it goes. For Irrelevant under turret into Oscarinin, it's a knock-up here. The Ornn hard to dive, but the damage is already out. Irrelevant is already out as well. It's as easy as that with a Sejuani by your side.
Yeah, walk on up with the Empowered, wait for the Rage, and just W him. You could chain CC, it's a simple one-shot.
Clean again. Hello. Guess who showed up for another party? It's Razork top. He's now got 6 as well. So the Stranglethorns is available. He doesn't have the red buff for the slow, but he does have the poke to send away and set up the grubs.
But here's the thing, right? Even though they got the kill on Oscarinin, he just TP's back into lane. He's now in a position where he didn't use his ultimate on that play, Irrelevant did. So you can't actually try and contest Void Grubs on the top side. So this would be Fnatic able to pick up these early grubs despite the moves from SK to try and move into position.
My only concern is, like, just because of those 2 kills onto the Zyra, even if Irrelevant could have been there, I feel like Sork Shoes and the Fated Ashes might have been too strong anyway. Razork is incredibly strong, that amount of gold on him right now.
Yeah.
That's a triple grubs there for Razork as he looks mid.
I mean, there's just going to be a trade for now onto Nisqy getting forced back, and Razork, he's got the pressure with Jun also moving up. It's good to see the support trying to roam by his side as they sync up to go for an invade. Gents as well, remember Isma got the kills on the enemy side too, so it's not like SK are cheering. He gets an early item here. And, I mean, that's great, but Irrelevant is the one who you want to see benefit here. With only a 350 gold lead top side, Oscarinin still keeping up in CS partially.
So at this point, what Irrelevant can do is just slow stack waves, crash every other wave, and proc a Demolish Rock, and eventually whittle down this tower. At this point, versus the Bramble Vest, you're not getting a kill threat, but now my eyes are on Isma. He has the item completion, and that slow on the Zeeks is going to help him run down someone. So I want to see him make a play on his next ultimate cooldown. He just dings 6.
But meanwhile, in the early game, the flash forward, Jun is just trying to ramp it up. Tramples there. Auto attack to get the stun. He tanks it up for a little bit too long. Ends up being a trade, but remember, TP's not up, and Humanoid crashes waves fast.
Yeah, so at least Humanoid will be able to get the kill and get this wave crash, so it will set Nisqy behind, but nicely done by Nisqy to get that last auto, just to finish off the health bar on Jun. Now Luon trying to hold in around this mid lane. Razork waiting off to the side as well, though.
Talk about the timing for Zeke's convergence. The slow is there, but again, Humanoid just out of range, so it doesn't matter. Eragon, you said in the top wave, maybe it's going to be okay. I mean, Irrelevant is just looking for the turret plating, as you do, as Oscarinin continues to defend this wave himself. And just dissipate for the time being. Good bit of gold still being put into Irrelevant, naturally thanks to the matchup.
Yeah, naturally. And the way this matchup breaks is through that Black Cleaver, but Isma, for an invade here, nice cognizance of Razork to not face check, but rather check with the bushes. Jun here as well.
Jun is just perma-roaming.
Yeah.
mean, Luon is as well. Look, he's coming up.
Just able to smite that one away, so Razork will be able, I think, yeah, will be able to get that one and just walk on out. So nicely done by Razork to keep his own top side safe, because there was like a world where you had the quicker reset from Nisqy, could have tried to lean in towards Dragon, but as Eragon was saying, they didn't spot anyone moving down there with all the vision that Fnatic had set up. So they're like, look, there has to be something going on in our top side. So with Jun in tow, they back it on up in a Humanoid.
Hang on, let's see. Luon has a knockup available, doesn't full commit with Jun there as well. I feel like this game, Jun has just been in the right place at the right time. And we talked a lot about supports coming through. We talked a lot about that bottom chai from Rahel and Luon. I think from Jun, I mean, we can't forget that this year, although Dagda made a great point yesterday, that it has been a rough start of the split and rough compete. As he moves into brush to stop the back there from Luon. Jun has still been one of our best supports here in the league as he gets knocked back. He shuts me out for a little bit, but only to half HP. Ain't going to be the end of the world as Razork is also covering. Remember, he's strong.
Yeah, it looks like that ward on that invade over here, rather, oh my goodness, this is difficult.
How we doing?
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, well that ward probably spotted out the invade, but you could tell the reason why they're looking for these invades is because they have permanent prio topside,
right,
as well as item completions, and I just want to reiterate from Champion Select, this is a very early to mid-game transition focused composition for SK Gaming. They really one-shot a champion really well if they find a phase check, and that's why they're looking for these plays, because naturally the way it works is Sejuani stuns someone, Renekton stuns someone, and then Taliyah combos on top of it. So, fishing for Razork potentially in the jungle. Now, it's a Dragon contest.
Play Dragon, but we're used to that now, aren't we? Isma just disregards it for the time being. Fnatic move into River. They have position, they have priority. Luon and Nisqy just pay attention and back away. Remembering top laners can't join in if anything happens down bot. Irrelevant further away from his TP. Oscarinin about 30-40 seconds, so there is an advantage here if Fnatic choose a fight. But for now, it's Humanoid who just goes airborne. Jun takes the damage. Here comes Isma, but the ult whips. He sidesteps. He doesn't have 6 to be tanky, so Isma will take it, but he takes the kill again. Unfortunately, no one from SK otherwise getting the resources until top. Pauses for the time being with Oscarinin getting low.
Oscarinin gets low, doesn't quite die, but in the mid lane, good discipline from SK there to not turn onto the Tristana, but go on the flashless Jun, because Tristana, Humanoid, actually failed the buffer there on the knockup from the Rakan.
True.
So, yeah, great discipline from SK there, and one-shotting Jun.
Razork's gonna get caught here.
This is a bad Sejuani kill. The plant's out, waiting for the Stranglethorns. Razork takes so much damage. The bases of Sejuani are broken as Nisqy gets turned on though. Razork almost finds a target, but he dies in the end. Okay, carry Sej time from Isma. Let's see it.
Nice pick from SK though. Razork was trying to see if the Void Grubs had been started by SK, but instead Isma waiting in behind, even at the push and top, so Relevant starts to move down river, and it's a complete trap for Razork, where he's got nowhere to go to get out of there.
Yeah, Oscarinin going to TP in top. There's no cross map available. Now you can TP in bot side as well and catch the wave. It's just a winning SK play across the board. They don't lose any waves in anywhere. They don't lose a single plating either.
And again, it sounds like it's broken record, but Tristana with 6 grubs is unmatchable. It's annoying. It's irritating. It's nice to see the grubs spread out in this game where Fnatic can't capitalize. So again, another win for SK.
Now, we saw in the regular season game between SK and Fnatic, SK get out to these early leads like we're seeing at the moment, but it was a massive play from Humanoid's way at these topside objectives that ended up turning the game around. Now, not on the way, but with the amount of damage that Razork and Humanoid as a combo can deal, there is always a chance that with a good engage from Jun, they can try and bring this game back from where it is positioned at the moment. And with the setup now over towards Dragon, they've got fairly decent choke point control that they can try and combo for Jun and Razork's abilities.
Well, again, as it just whittles down, Fnatic are just going to take this starting objective. And again, Dagda, a further point to what you're talking about with Fnatic is, I mean, we've got that front to back, right? We've got double AD carry with a Zyra as well as Jun setting up the engagement. Nisqy flashed away from the seismic shove it was. Fnatic are full committing. Razork sets up Humanoid, and this duo is back in game 1 with a vengeance to set up for a big lead.
Yeah, it's a nice play from Jun, and Razork here ganked down into the bot side to set up Humanoid for the kills as well. I'm getting a little bit concerned about SK right now, because I think you really want to convert this early game lead in terms of raw champion strength into Dragons and stacking up that early game lead. Fnatic outscale. They have double AD carry plus an AP carry, like you said, with a much better front line. So I feel like the win condition of SK is slowly withering away a little bit.
Yeah, it's these little moments where you're getting caught out, and it's been Nisqy a couple of times now where he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it's giving the moment for Fnatic to try and slow down the pace of this game. At least the good news for them is that Irrelevant has done some good work on that top lane tower. They're now going to try and swap him down to the bottom side, but he's facing into this Tristana, which means he's not really going to be able to use that.
Razork face checking. I mean, maybe some of the issues we saw yesterday. Razork yesterday was criticized. He came back, but man, the start of the series was not good, and that was a bit of reminiscence.
What was that step forward from Razork? I wonder if he misclicked the floor when he was trying to click the ward to take it. I'd have to see that again, but it looked like he accidentally walked forward, which invited the engage.
Seismic shot though. I mean, Nisqy might have a chance, but will there be a return? Call the Forge God flashed away from, and Nisqy now just hit on by Humanoid. Oscar gets out with his flash, and Humanoid just comes in to save the day.
Nisqy just cannot get a break at all in this game. It's just been heartbreak after heartbreak, and now it's going to be Tristana who's on that top side, so SK immediately trying to move up that way to cover. But we're going to enter into a very quick pause. We'll have to find out exactly what's going on, but yeah, it has not been great for Nisqy.
Maybe something with Irrelevant, I'm not sure, but we'll find out either way.
Oh, that looks like spilled water.
Did you spill? Oh, no. It happens to the
These
best
top
of us.
laners, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Terrible mechanics. I'm a top laner, by the way.
No, actually, better update. There was a spider on his keyboard.
Oh,
Really?
Depends what kind. I mean, but
I'm terrified. I do the same.
But as in, like, how big we talking? You reckon, like a daddy long legs or what?
It's not Australian level.
No.
Sorry, man.
Do you have spiders? You like what kind
We
of
do
spiders?
have spiders.
I know.
but
Yes.
they're not very, well, I think the worst one, at least in Ireland, is like the false black widow, which we accidentally brought in from you lads.
It was us, was it? Yeah, it was. You know, there's back home, there's something called funnel webs. So if you go to a tree and you see a funnel of cobwebs, and there's a spider that just sits there, and you look, like I've looked at it before, and it's just staring back at you, waits for prey to get in there, and then it takes it. So yeah. Anyway.
So it's basically like a bush trap.
Yeah. But on any tree, with it makes a funnel. It's crazy. Anyway, wasn't one of those. Irrelevant still playing. Otherwise, there'd be hospitals involved. There'd be medics involved. Thankfully, we're back in the game, and Eragon can tell us again what happens to top laners because he didn't see that one go. You said water, man. He didn't see spiders.
This replay. Okay.
yeah, good. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, so he walks in. Look, I think he misclicked the floor or something like this when he was trying to... Oh, because of course he loses vision and wants to click the ward, so he walks into the bush to try and take it. And yeah, unfortunate death.
Yeah. I mean, I could do nothing but criticize there because of what we saw yesterday again, but still early days, a mistake made there, but SK can come back to life. It's all about the Herald on the top side for now as Jun tries to reposition and get in.
Yeah, Razork could lock down onto Luon. But, Hex Flash for Jun, wants to see if he can get in, but yeah, SK just going to be able to steal this one away. And now you've got a lot of members of Fnatic on this top side. There is a world where SK can use the push they have for Xayah mid to immediately take that tower, but want to try and protect this top lane structure at the same time. So, going to just help Nisqy clear out that wave before they really try and set up.
Now, the problem I think Fnatic have is that their side lane turrets are really low. If you take a look at the HP on that bot side turret on the tier 1, it's like one Demolish Brock away from Irrelevant taking it, and first split turret is worth a lot of gold at the moment.
Yep.
So you can imagine they try and defend these as well as they can. Jun's just going to face check though.
I mean, Jun could be in trouble. Seismic Shot not going to connect, but we're all looking for these skill shots to connect. Right now, SK, they play on a hair's breadth. Remember, every time Nisqy's been trying to find these picks, they've backfired in his face so far this game. And, you know, we talked a lot about mid coming through here as Wave's just going to be defended top.
Okay. Sorry, I saw on the minimap, I saw Kai'Sa hovering the Ornn, so if there was ever any kind of CC that came down onto Irrelevant there, Kai'Sa could have potentially ulted in. And I was panicking thinking there might have been a fight there, but fizzles. It looks like Kai'Sa was just settling for that crab.
It was nice to see. I mean, again, Noah performance only yesterday as well, right? Yeah. Where he was just flying and the Kai'Sa the setup was really, really nice from some of these supportive staff. As Oscarinin just defends the wave. Okay, now we chill. Gents, a minute 20 till Dragon comes up. That's probably the next call.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is in the next 15 seconds, a lot of resets coming through from SK. They want to try and use this Rift Herald in mid lane to put pressure onto the turret, take it, then use that to move in towards Dragon. But you can see Fnatic just saying, hey, look, Humanoid is way stronger than Nisqy right now. We can just continuously play off this top wave push and look to put pressure on the map so SK fumble the ball when it comes towards the reset timers.
I wonder if they're thinking, you know what, we outscale so hard, we already have first Dragon, we have plenty of time to play the side lanes and scale up till we get to our front to back, that we can just cross-map instead of going for this Dragon trying to stack Dragons. See Humanoid going back up top side.
As you said, I mean, SK on a bit of a timer, it feels like as well. The early game hasn't been successful. We've got a Taliyah mid that is actually half an item behind Humanoid, who not only has a CS lead of about 40, but a 2k gold lead as well. But Tristana, yet again, being relevant as Jun. You'd say he's caught out, but he's an Alistar. He holds his fort with Razork by his side as well. A good little tangle as ulti gets thrown out by Isma, but nothing else to say as it's too far over the wall.
Look at all this vision control. They're really strong-siding Humanoid here to try and facilitate him into getting this first split tower. That's an auto away now. All that vision, the plants, all the efforts of Fnatic there to encourage Humanoid to go forward and hit.
Beautiful trade from Noah, just battling it out with Rahel.
Actually going to end up using this Rift Herald on the top side, so I think SK kind of realizing we don't really have enough map pressure to really be able to facilitate moving that in towards mid lane. Now Isma, lots of Humanoid, but he should just be able to jump over this if needs be. Jun on the way as well, though.
Oh, look at the teleport.
We're full committing, aren't we? I mean, but Oscar, only half HP. We'll see if that affects it. It's called the Forge God. Is the Ram Jam from hell, but Isma gets on out. Weaver's walled down. Midway interrupted. Nisqy, and having a great game. Andrews, the seismic shove gets him away, but the exhaust, enough with the phase rush. Fnatic can't find the kill, but hell, it was close.
He got very lucky with that Unravel Lure. Jun went for the headbutt pulverized combo, but got CC'd as he went over for the headbutt, so ends up getting knocked away. But that was dangerous from Nisqy. Did not have to take that ride, and I think very much regretted it the second he did.
I think he could have just gone to the left, you know, but maybe not. Maybe he felt the need to go through the river towards that dragon. Regardless, SK is going to pick up the first Drake of the game. Very important towards that Drake stacking win condition with early game comp.
And Irrelevant getting bot lane turret as well, so at least there was side lane pressure that worked out in the end. SK still have the gold lead as well, remember folks, as top side, Humanoid was able to claw some of that back himself. He got solo turret gold again. Keep talking about him non-stop.
But I think that's the point, is that he is so far ahead, it's really difficult for Nisqy to try and deal with them. And if you end up trying to stick Irrelevant there, well, now you just melee versus range, and you just get to abuse that matchup even further. So I think this is where SK are really going to struggle coming into this mid-game, is how do they try and play off of their lane advantages. Now, at the moment, the Tristana just resets, so they're just going to overload in mid lane. But as soon as they get this, they need to start playing off of Rahel's push in mid to play over to try and diminish the impact that Humanoid is having on these side lanes.
Lots of funneling coming in right now. You see Humanoid farming up those Krugs as well. They really want to get him strong. He already picked up 2 items now. He's going to be the star carry for this team. He has a huge front line to work with as well. And Oscarinin's going to pick up that tower down in bot and be able to get out too. You can look for a potential 1v1 up top side as well. That Seraph is completed onto Nisqy. So he's a bit tankier than normal, but if Tristana ever gets on top of him, that's a dead Taliyah.
Indeed. By the way, I want to come back to Oscar, because even though he's so far behind, I mean, the early Thornmail with the Ziggs convergence now picked up as well. I know cheap item, but at least matching in some regard. You know, when we talk about scaling, Ornn is a great part of that as well. Remember the gold value that comes in from level 13 onwards for some of these star carries as well. Just makes those spikes that much quicker, that much harder as well for Fnatic to play through in this mid-game.
Yeah, I think it's also you just don't have great tank killing on SK. Like, Xayah not really renowned for tank killing, so I think that's where you're looking at. You can go for these cheaper items and still get to mega strong, as does Ornn, and still provide that front line. So I think he's going to be happy to just finish off some of these earlier items and still have the then AoE slow when it gets in towards team fights against what's a relatively short-range team.
20 minutes in, 2 AD carries on your team and a Zyra. That Nash dies in 15 seconds. So if you had pressure down bot side, they ever overcommit numbers, SK down in the bot lane, that's a really quick Nash for Fnatic.
And it's a really nice angle from Jun. Seismic Shove dodged away from him. He's trying to play with them for a little while. Might have to burn the ulti. Interrupted. Jun now isolated from the rest of Fnatic, and we saw a TP come up. I mean, Irrelevant joins in, and SK with a pick that might open them up and set them up for Baron.
And this is what I was talking about. SK playing off of mid-prio into being able to move quicker, find the pick. Jun's overextended. Razork is missed, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Razork's ulti comes through with the 2-man knock-up. He's in the perfect place at the perfect time, and Humanoid's damage. His gold's starting to come in mega handy. Irrelevant flashes away as the feathers also fly from Rahel, and Humanoid thinks of another idea as SK's Baron is thwarted.
Isma needed to hit that ultimate. With that being down, Razork's able to play back, and now you've got a mid-push that Fnatic are able to play off to get mid-tower, and you're just scrambling to try and protect your top side, which even Humanoid has been able to take some of these camps.
Yeah, I'd love to see in that engage again how many autos Rahel was able to get off in that fight, because it felt like he was too short range to be able to potentially hit through that corridor in the Baron area. I feel like Rahel on this Xayah is having a lot of issues navigating how close range is.
Because remember how this started with Jun getting caught out, SK saw the window.
Yeah, but this is what I was saying, is that when you're playing Rahel or Xayah in Champ Select, it's very difficult to try and play into a lot of these compositions because the amount of zone control that you can have, but also playing into the choke point there. Oscarinin, great knock-up, makes it so difficult. And as well, the fact that Razork is just able to play back into his team and play in behind Razork means you've got no real threat onto those key carries in the back.
It was just 5 autos onto an Ornn after a delay on the engage as well, because he had to walk up and then hit before having to run away and ultimate because the grasping roots came out from the Zyra. So yeah, having trouble navigating it.
Does LDR change your mind, either of you, for this Xayah? Is it enough? Am I grasping at straws?
So the biggest problem that I have is kind of what we have got to see in that fight is, like, if you were trying to step up as Rahel, you kind of need the Stranglethorns to be down.
Right.
And if that's not the case, we can't really walk up to hit anything. So at least LDR will help you deal damage to Oscarinin, but it's still the core problem of you're not getting past Oscarinin to get access to a lot of these tanks, and you just have more carries on the side of Fnatic.
I'm also hearing range a lot influence in that conversation too. I like it. 2 items for Rahel. We'll keep track at the very least to see if there's any influence as SK try and group up towards mid. It's been a bit of a messy game. There's been missteps from people like Razork, from Nisqy, you know, even from Jun on the other side. But now things are heating up with good picks.
Oh.
I just talked about him. Jun is having a rough one, but Laure isn't. He comes in, he cleans up, and his killer instinct is sharp. Jun is saved by his AD carry, and Fnatic pick off regardless.
He needs to be careful of these unraveled urds, man. It's the worst part of playing Alistar into Taliyah is just being like, cool, I can go for a combo, then immediately you're like, oh no, I'm just about to headbutt to safety. Now Humanoid has to get his self to safety as well. With Dragon in 8 seconds, this is going to be Fnatic, I feel like, picking up their second one of the game.
2.5 items for the AD carries. I think it's relatively even in terms of item parity, but the spike for SK right now in terms of composition is really strong right now. The first target they CC with the layering of the Rakan ultimate as well, it should blow up unless it's Oscarinin.
Well, trying to steal that. That's Isma. He runs on in. I mean, I'm going to talk about good games so far, but as he gets knocked on up here in our round 2 of playoffs, SK are in a bit of trouble in their first game. Call the Forge God flew through. Isma survives, but Dragon goes down to Fnatic.
Man, it feels like the entire way through this game, all I've watched is Luon using his ultimate to save SK after they fumbled a play. Whether it was like Isma having missed his ultimate, or there you can see where you're overextending the play. It's just like, you're not getting to set up these fights as you would like for SK. Even when they had that Baron play, they get a nice pick, but then they fumble the play after. It feels like SK just aren't on the same page with how they want to coordinate these fights.
I want to call out LEC teams because it's so weird, right? Some of the meta choices we have, it took us ages to pick up Tristana, it took us ages to pick up AP carries, and now we have this random Taliyah prio where I feel like the rest of the world just doesn't, right? And I think there's a reason why we got double AD carry consistently, because it's so damn strong. I get it, you want to play with the Taliyah, you want to play with the combo, and play this early to mid game, but I just think it's worse, Hysterics.
I also think that was nice. It was really nice, especially in the meta when it was used as a flex, but we know its jungle damage is down. We know no one's really picking it into the jungle now either, right?
Yeah, the Merc treads value that you give as well. Like, I mean, you see triple Merc treads on the other side. Tristana with Mercs, you're never going to die versus Taliyah.
When was the last time you saw
duo.
an attack speed, you know, attack speed boot AD carry mid?
Actually, yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday, it was Jackie's on Tristana. But I get your point.
Everyone else. How'd that go for us?
God damn it, Eragon. You meant to say never. You meant to lie. Well, either way, I get the point, right? And there's been a lot of questions about it because how the meta's been evolving, you know? How LEC's adapting, and we talked about this yesterday even. We talked about how LCK looks similar to LEC at the moment. That feels like the biggest comparison region. Because, you know, us three, we also watch LPL. It doesn't look like LPL drafts whatsoever. Leona first pick, I haven't seen that yet. Or at least not many times. As SK in this mid game, we bring you back because it's a 1k gold disadvantage. We are just waiting for the potential of Baron, the defensive mid, and especially as to the next move for the pick.
Whatever about the draft, though, I think Fnatic are playing this out fantastically. Like, they are just constantly going, hey, Humanoid is a problem. Just let Humanoid be a problem. Like, just stick him there in the side lane. We already said Irrelevant can't deal with him. So we constantly get pushed. We're opening up plays, and
Luon,
they're engaging onto tanks.
I mean, yeah, not it. Not it whatsoever. Supports with a rough game one, and as Luon gets caught out now, numbers disadvantage as Humanoid in the side lane. Maybe Irrelevant brings that on back, but we're waiting for the leap strike, or at least a leap away. He gets ulted, but Irrelevant has the flash available. I want to see what happens. Ignore the Baron. Let me see Bot. They disengage for the time being, so maybe not relevant. As fun joke aside, 4K, 3K. Fnatic disengage SK. Baron goes down. And not even a pick onto Humanoid comes true for SK in game one.
Great Baron from Fnatic here, down in the bot side with that 1v1. The Hysterics shield hadn't popped yet, so Irrelevant rather would never have died in that scenario.
Might be dead. There's a flash away over the wall, but he too will survive despite losing that summoner spell.
Yeah, it's just heartbreak. I mean, the Luon, I don't know if it was a, hey, I think we're just losing out all over the place. Maybe we can find a quick pick, because the vision wasn't exactly there for them at that point. So maybe we're like, we just need to try and have something happen. But this game is very quickly slipping away from SK, and I think this is a much better version of Fnatic. They're not overextending. They're playing things slow. You can see there is thought and communication as to how they want to approach the map, and SK are struggling as a result.
I mean, Humanoid in charge is a really good look, right? Because we've talked consistently in the past couple of weeks, in this split particularly, like Humanoid and Razork don't feel as synced up. Like, Humanoid hasn't been as much of a star he's been historically too. He's a bit up and down. Bro, he's a 320 to 190 CS in this game one.
Yeah, and he's having a fantastic performance, but you're kind of talking about the individual performers on Fnatic. Well, SK has kind of relied on that, but the problem with this draft is you just don't really have someone where you can go, yes, that's the person that we're looking at to have that pop-off moment right now. Xayah can't really carry this game. Taliyah can't, and Irrelevance on a Renekton that just is starting to become less and less relevant in this game.
How do we talk about bottom chai when we can't see bottom pop off? I mean, this first game, it's been rough for Rahel. He's got a good KDA, but all he can do is farm and watch as Fnatic now siege with this Baron in multiple lanes. Top, now mid, both at half HP for the inners.
Yeah, I think Fnatic have done a really good job in the siege, kind of mismatching the wave crashes a little bit, but in general also playing well around Humanoid.
Well, Jun actually pulls it on his back. The quickness comes through, a flash
the
over.
damage.
The Strangle Thorns were nuts from Razork. It's a two-man call, the Force God from Oscar, as Humanoid won't jump on that one, but it opens up Fnatic to keep charging on in for SK's game.
The base is going to be cracked open here. A minute left on that Red Bull Baron power play, and they want to take at least the top side as well. You can see Oscarinin trying to get the bot pushed in as well. I think you should be able to defend that as SK, but this is still the base in tatters.
20 seconds onto Nisqy. He does have TP if they manage to chase for this long, if they slow chase it.
Still going. I mean, Luon jumps in, but he's just getting shredded. Noah has the time of his life, and while Irrelevant tries to have a field day, unfortunately the bus is leaving. He's got to go. Jun with the flash at no HP. He doesn't get hit by the quivers. In the end, a flash searing charge on the cards as Isma now at no HP either. Razork's crushed through bot. Rahel's one shot away. Oscar cares not. And Fnatic, it went from nothing to something real damn fast, as it feels like the comps here are at play, with Humanoid dying in the end, but Fnatic having this game in the palm of their hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's all three inhibitors down. SK going to chase. Nisqy wants to get the flick back. Razork trying to keep it at bay. Isma needs to get in towards this fight, though. Doesn't have the ultimate available.
I mean, it's a nice sidestep, but he just gets smited down for a kill. Here's Irrelevant as it gets a little bit sloppy, Joe. With Isma chasing, Stranglethorn's out for a zone. Razork now out of mana, has enough for a Stranglethorn though, and gets three people cleaned up as Noah does it, and now flashes away. Irrelevant wants this as Luon's there, but the Oscarinin searing charge to bring this in, and it's just skill checking, isn't it? Irrelevant's trying. Dominus is now back up, but the second
Look at the base.
passive. Look at him. I don't care about the base. I want to see Noah pop off.
Noah!
I want to see him kill them all. Everyone's hoping Fnatic are going to be stepping up big this split, this summer playoffs. And after game one, it took a little while to get that feeling, but hey, eventually we'll know that Fnatic had taken this one out.
The TP's coming down, it's not over yet, sir.
Fight for, kill them all. Luon runs for his life, but Humanoid wants some of that action, and bro, you know, Noah just takes that, he puts it in a highlight reel for sure.
Noah, coming into this game, was saying that Fnatic have not lost the best of series to SK, that he was going to stomp Rahel and Luon, that he and Jun were the best bot lane in the LEC, and honestly, he's putting on a magnificent performance to try and prove that point here.
Even when Jun has had some whoopsies in the game, right? Like, and then he comes back and has this crazy flash on no HP with a pulverize. But yeah, Noah's story is great because ridiculed at MSI, it has been a growing experience for him in summer to get back to that point of power and being a top bot laner of the league.
It's been about trying to find that confidence, and Noah has that in leaps and bounds at this stage, and it's great to see his performance shining as a result. Jun, going forward, has Humanoid and Razork right behind him. Fnatic, they see blood in the water. They want to end this here.
SK have to pull the trigger soon, otherwise they're going to have 6 super minions pouring into the base every 30 seconds. They try to, and Jun goes in.
Well, they say in England it's coming home, and for Fnatic for game number 1 with a searing charge out to boot. Oscar, he's not going to find it, by the way, but Noah will. Killer Instinct in the back line, and Rahel, who's had a quiet game, who hasn't been able to do anything, gets jumped on by Humanoid, rooted down in the end, but Luon can't finish the job either. Now a bare Nexus, a triple to end it, and Fnatic playing with their food here, while SK have to sit and watch and wait for dessert.
The rumors of Fnatic's death are feeling greatly exaggerated right now. Game 3 was clinical from them yesterday, and now coming into today, that was destruction of SK. Play it slow, play to your strengths, and play towards an easy win with Humanoid leading the charge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they played so well around Humanoid, funneling him a bunch of gold, constantly strong side him in this mid game, in the side laning, giving him so many, every single camp I saw him farming Krugs lows, taking the tier 1 towers, always giving him the resources.
I mean, I feel like the first thing you look at for Fnatic as well is how we got away with getting that double kill onto Razork early. How they got that early lead as we go to a short break and hopefully see SK bounce back in game 2.
Red Bull gives you wings.